Hi kiddos, I've got another book for you today. This one is called MrsToggles Zipper. I'm going to read a story about a zipper. I know that sounds a little strange, but it's going to be fun. And this is one of my favorites. You guys are going to think this is funny because it's about a teacher. MrsToggles Zipper, the author is Robin Pulver. Remember, the author writes the words. You said words? Yep, right. The illustrator is R.W. Alley. The person who makes did you yell pictures really loud? You were right. MrsToggles Zipper. It looks like it's winter time out, doesn't it? Let's see what's going on with her zipper today. Here's Mrs. Toggle and all of her kids. When Mrs. Toggle's children arrived at school in the morning, they changed in the hall from their boots to their shoes. When the bell rang, they picked up their boots, their bags, and marched to their room. I'll show you the picture when you're done, don't worry. They stuffed boots and bags into their cubbies and hung up their coats, and then they sat down at their desks. "Good morning, Mrs. Toggle," they all said in their good morning voices. "Good morning, class," said Mrs. Toggle in a grumpy voice. Oh no, grumpy teacher. I wonder what's happening. Let's find out. When the children noticed that Mrs. Toggle was still wearing her coat, the big puffy pink one that she got for Christmas, "Mrs. Toggle," they yelled, "you forgot to take off your coat." Just kind of like you guys remind me sometimes when we forget, yeah? Sometimes we get busy. Do you think she's too busy? Let's see. "I didn't forget," said Mrs. Toggle. "I can't get it off because the zipper's stuck." Oh, that's happened to us a lot, doesn't it? It's usually the teacher that fixes it, though. The teacher can't fix it. What are we going to do? "I'm afraid it's going to be a long day," said Mrs. Toggle. "How'd your zipper get stuck?" Mrs. Toggle fanned her face. "Well, how does the zipper get stuck? First, the little piece gets stuck, and you pull some more, and you pull harder, and then it's really stuck, right? And now you're trapped in your coat, and you need some help to get out." The children gathered around Mrs. Toggle to see for themselves, because we all like to make sure, right? "Yep," said Joey, "that zipper's stuck." "What's worse," said Mrs. Toggle, "is the thingamajig's missing." What's a thingamajig? That's a new word. "What?" said all the kids. "The thingamajig, the thing that you pull with for your zipper." "Oh," said all the kids. They thought about their coats and their zippers that worked, and they were happy they weren't Mrs. Toggle. "Maybe we can help," said one of the girls. "You can try," said Mrs. Toggle. So Mrs. Toggle put her feet on the floor, like that. And she leaned forward in her chair, and she held out her arms like this. And some of the kids grabbed on one sleeve, and some grabbed onto the other sleeve. And Paul and Nina grabbed a hold of her collar, and Mrs. Toggle said, "Now," and everybody pulled, and everybody ended up on the floor. Paul wanted to get busy cleaning, get to math, and Mrs. Toggle said, "Let's go to the nurse's office. She can help you get out of your coat." So Mrs. Toggle took all of her children with her, and they went down to the office. When Mrs. Schott, the nurse, saw Mrs. Toggle's hot red face, she reached for her thermometer and popped it right into the teacher's mouth. Pop! Mrs. Toggle shook her head. "I don't have a thermometer," she tried to say. And the nurse said, "Don't talk with a thermometer in your mouth." We don't use those anymore. We use the ones on your head, right? And that's so much better. The nurse said, "I have to call your mother." And Mrs. Toggle tried to say, "I don't live with my mother, I'm a teacher." But the nurse wasn't listening. Nina spoke up. She said, "She's not sick. She doesn't live with her mom because she's a grown-up and a teacher. Mrs. Toggle's stuck in her coat, and she can't get it off because her zipper's stuck and the thingamajig's lost." The nurse said, "We have to pull it off." We tried that, everybody told her. And so the nurse said, but this time we'll use a bandage. Band-aids fix everything. She's going to use a Band-Aid to pull her coat off. Let's see how that goes. How do you think it's going to happen? Band-Aids make everything better. But first, Mrs. Toggle, let's take that thermometer out. So the nurse put a Band-Aid on the zipper where the thingamajig was supposed to go. And she pulled. And the children pulled. And the same thing happened. Everybody ended up bumpity bump on the floor. Okay, well, the Band-Aid didn't make her zipper better. It might make boo-boos better, but not her zipper. So the nurse said, let's call the principal. And so here came the principal. And he said, Mrs. Toggle, it's against the rule to wear your coat in school all day. I know, said Mrs. Toggle, but I can't take my coat off because, as we all know, the zipper is stuck. Tell him about the thingamajig, said Nina. The what, said the principal. You know, that whatchamacallit. The principal said, no, this isn't happening. We're going to try to make a line. So, everybody in a nice straight line. I'm going to pull on the right arm. The other line is going to pull on the left arm. Mrs. Schott, you're going to hold on to the collar. Is everybody ready? The kids try to say, we tried that. Pulling doesn't work. Yes, but you were in a straight line, right? Said the principal. We are going to make a straight line. Ready, get set, and everybody pulled where they were supposed to. And everybody landed on the floor again. Oh no. How are they going to get Mrs. Toggle out of her coat, do you think? So the principal said, enough. We can't all be on the floor just because of Mrs. Toggle's zipper. I'm going to call the custodian. He's going to have to cut her coat off. Ah! Oh no. Are we going to cut everybody's coat off? The custodian came along wearing his apron with all of his tools, and he looked at Mrs. Toggle and he said, is it too cold in here? I can fix the heat. She tried to tell him again, I'm stuck in my coat. So Mr. Abel listened very carefully and he said, I can see the problem. The pull tab is gone. And everybody looked at him. What? He said the thing that pulls your zipper down is called a pull tab. Don't worry, I've seen worse. So Mr. Abel pulled out a pair of pliers and he used it to loosen up the zipper's teeth on her coat. And with his large fingers, he pulled it down gently. The coat opened up and Mrs. Toggle was free. Yay! Everybody smiled happily. Nobody was on the floor anymore. And the children all cheered and said, can we go back and do our math now, please? Mr. Abel said, you should probably get a new pull tab for your coat. Mrs. Toggle said, thank you, one more time to Mr. Abel, and off they went back to class so they could start on their math. Mr. Abel made himself a little note. Look up the word thingamajig. Do you think that's a word? We'll have to find out next time. I hope you liked Mrs. Toggle. It's a good thing she's out of her coat now, right? All right, see you soon, kiddos.